Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to Deep Dive.
Wait. I thought we're doing the movie. What?
Oh.
Hi, everybody. What is up? That we could do without all that. So you voted. This is your fault.
Yes, it is.
Today, we're gonna watch that.
Wait, we're watching the movie?
Yes, but it's the movie version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is great.
I have never been more excited.
I'm super stoked because I've only seen the movie and not the show.
Oh, wow. Okay, so just to be clear, I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show, means more to me than like any other piece of entertainment ever.
I'm fired.
Yeah, well, no. If you would like to send us movies, again, that P.O. box is right there.
I am looking forward to learning more about the two key questions in life. 1, how funky is your chicken? And number 2, how loose is your goose? Let's shake our cabooses. Welcome to Deep Dive.
Hello. Today on Deep Dive, we watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a movie that was directed by Fran Rebel Kuzui in 1992. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because if you're a fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show, you'll notice that she was credited as an executive producer at the end of every single episode. Executive producer credit on the show aside, and other drama that we could probably bring up, I want to talk about Donald Sutherland. He refused to read any of the lines that were written for him by this film's writer, Joss Whedon. So he decided to take it upon himself to create and say all of his own original lines, including his death. Anyway, we're gonna watch this movie today on Deep Dive, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Do we want to pick out a snack for Act 1? We have some choices.
Oh
Sponge.
no, we're going straight for the sponge?
These were sent into the P.O. box by
Dr. Wordperson and Mr. Wordperson, fans of the show and personal friends. Also, check out
Wordperson?
Dr. Wordperson's YouTube channel. It's really good. She does etymologies.
That is the best.
Hi, I'm Dr. Wordperson. Do you like linguistics and ancient languages?
Link in the description.
Marshmallow cookie, coconut, and strawberry. Sponge crunch.
Sponge friends.
Sponge friends. These are cute.
always sponge with your friends.
Ooh, that is
I had never seen this. I thought I had, but I realized I had actually seen Once Bitten starring Jim Carrey.
very different film. I also have not seen this movie before. I'm like 100% into this movie already.
Yeah.
The fashion, amazing.
It's super campy.
It is very campy, and I think that's one of the reasons I like it so well.
I'm so happy we're watching this movie.
And I'm Spike.
I have not actually seen the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show, so this is my Buffy. This is the Buffy that I literally grew up with.
Your first Buffy. Hashtag first Buffy.
My first Buffy. And I love it. I love this movie so far. I feel like that it's intentionally not taking itself very seriously at all. It's bright and colorful and campy and dumb in all of my favorite ways.
Okay. I haven't seen this movie. How much of this is parody of 80s movies?
It's in there.
It's in there.
Okay. I was trying to figure out how satirical it was.
Sure.
Like, the visual language of satire has changed a lot. I think the obvious comparison would be Cabin in the Woods, like steeped in the tropes and knows it so well, whereas this is steeped in the tropes of horror movies from the 80s, which I am not as versed in.
It reads as like Scary Movie, where everybody's sort of like and like then gets killed.
So the movie opens up with a flashback, which
Yeah,
is
to the
kinda
Dark
cool.
Ages.
It's basically showing the exposition over time of how there have always been vampires, but to every vampire generation, there is always a chosen one that is the Slayer.
A Slayer is born.
Cut to the most 1992 opening ever. Dance break with cheerleaders.
If it had been CNC Music Factory, they might have been just like that.
It kind of establishes with some of the banter who this clique is. Christy Swanson, leader of the pack, is Buffy, and then all of the different roles of friends. One of them is the yes person, and all she does is, oh yeah, totally.
Totes.
Then there's freaking Hilary Swank.
With like the hairiest hair,
The hair
that has ever haired.
with the half-inch barrel spiral curl scrunchy game redonk. But Hilary Swank, I believe, is playing second fiddle in this group of friends.
I don't know how Hilary Swank is at this moment in time. I feel like 2% Hilary Swank.
Yeah.
It's a skim Hilary Swank.
Forest fires? Bugs? Bugs, totally.
He's the best. They're establishing the power dynamics in the crew. And then Donald Sutherland shows up looking mad creepy and exactly like the creeper-ass professor from Animal House that he played a bajillion years ago. Just looming in a trench coat.
Donald Sutherland walks in, says nothing, creeps him out, which is actually sort of a character trait of him, just coming in at the least opportune moments and creeping people out.
Man, this is really reminding me that the 90s are well and truly back.
Oh.
Excuse much, rude or anything? Nice ensemble. What a homeless.
I'm sorry, what? A homeless?
Wow.
Doesn't explain himself ever. At one point, he picks up a drunk kid and is like, this is a bad place for you to sleep. And that's it. That's all he says.
Literally,
as he puts him in a car.
As his friend, in the same shot as his friend getting vampired.
Right. And here's the thing. Donald Sutherland saw it. Because, like, his headlights are what lights the vampire thing happening.
This is the scene.
Not
Donald.
okay.
That is
What are you
enough.
doing here? This is a naked place.
So there's a lot of like teenage stereotypes happening, being rude all of the time and like not really caring what adults think. That actually doesn't bother me because like they're teenagers.
It's hard to like overact what an 80s teenager
Exactly.
acts like. Yeah, I'm a jock. Let's make out.
Right. Please don't at my face. Oh God.
I can't tell if that was one of the jocks or one of the vampires.
True. That is.
These vampires are buck fucking wild. Like the Twilight thing, but like on an $8 budget.
Yes.
Where like all their hair is like blown out.
Oh, yeah.
And their eyebrows.
Honestly,
are,
it,
oh my god,
it
it's
looks
incredible.
like they like ate a cupcake and had frosting around their mouth and then just went into a bag of hair.
This was still an era where you could look at Rutger Hauer and go, but not in this movie.
Not in that facial
No.
hair. Not
No.
in that facial hair.
But it's perfect. Once you see this cast of characters, you're like, wow, this was a movie that got made with a whole shit ton of amazing people, and somehow did not get the credit it deserved.
No.
And David Arquette is a perfect burnout.
I
and-
love him on this.
And Luke Perry has the smolder of 1,000 beautiful, beautiful stars.
I feel like if you're gonna hire David Arquette and Paul Rubens and you say, give me some ham, they're gonna show up with like a pig.
A full-on ham.
Yeah. Now I'm so hungry. It is so wild to see Proto Buffy. All the pieces of the show are there, down to the freaking pillow. I can't even believe that they had the same uncomfortably bad, like,
That would just leave, like, the mark on you.
the ones on the TV show are like straight doily.
Not appropriate.
Man, she wasted my dog.
Why did that
No one
happen?
knows. They finished that scene, that makes perfect sense. Moving on.
We don't have an exit to this scene.
You're gonna notice a fade to black thing in this movie where they don't have an exit to many, many scenes.
This movie feels really disjointed because they have no way to exit certain scenes.
Zoe, have you ever done that with your hair at night?
At night? No. During the day? Also no.
So the smartest shot in this entire movie has been when Buffy comes home from her graveyard fight. She has this sort of dream moment where she remembers going to sleep and then lies down next to the vampire lord and then wakes up.
She lies down on the vampire lord?
Sorry.
And I feel like we're about to see a training montage, and I love that because it's going to be a training montage, and it's an early 90s training montage, and it's going to be great.
Cue Act 2.
Three, two, one. My baby don't mess around.
She loves the sound of this, I know for sure. Yep, that's what this song is about. This movie,
Yeah.
I believe it. Well.
So we've just finished the second part of Buffy.
Yay!
And I love it.
I'm stoked. I'm happy to be here.
I have no idea why we're watching this on Deep Dive.
I don't
I
know.
love that, though. I love watching good movies on Deep Dive.
Yes.
Like, Buffy's great. I've always thought Buffy was great. I didn't watch a lot of the show growing up. As soon as there was a musical episode, that's when my mom was like, yeah, okay, come on in, guys. We're all watching this. So I always enjoyed it, and Buffy was always amazing and a badass, and this Buffy is no different. This Buffy is pretty spectacular.
Awesome.
They trained together in an old hotel, which was a really cool location.
We have the training montage. Usually, you'll have somebody, kind of struggling at the beginning. Like, no. She was already like baseline badass. After this amazing training, take a push pin in her mouth and spit it out, and then nails a housefly right to the wall.
Buffy shows off some of her crazy flippy moves.
She's like, yeah, I was in gymnastics for a while, and she's like an Olympic gymnast.
Yeah.
Like, back handsprings all over the place, like, punches him in the face, and he's just like, that was perfect. You did the perfect punch. Can we do a count on the number of pairs of leggings she owns?
There it is. What number is that? 8! Right!
Pike decides to get the hell out of Dodge because there's vamps.
This is like a nuts stunt.
It's one thing to do it on the Ford of like a Dodge Challenger. It's another thing to do it on like a 40 Econoline.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it was like,
while dodging trees.
yeah.
Vampires attack him. Pee-wee loses an arm.
Yeah.
And luckily, he is saved in the nick of time.
By Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Hi.
And Pike and Buffy, they start making eyes at each other, and
It like works,
Yeah. I mean,
but
Luke
Luke
Perry.
Perry and Christy Swanson
Yeah.
are just very good.
yeah.
Calling me a man?
He just asked if she called him a man.
Wow.
He's so cute.
That's
I'm a
kind of a
man.
big deal. We
Yes.
see that Buffy is having a hard time balancing,
It's
work-life
work-life
balance.
balance.
Work-life Slayer balance.
Right.
You can almost sort of tell that like her relationship with her current boyfriend is starting to get a little cracked.
Another basketball game happens where Buffy is cheerleading, and we hear that delightful cheer.
How funky is your chicken?
This
How
one.
funky is your chicken? How
He's so good.
So come on, all you hot fans. So come on, all you hot fans. And shake
your caboose.
and shake your caboose.
Okay.
That's the thing. I probably saw the movie like a couple of times in like what, 92, 93, 94. That cheer still stuck with me to this day. To this day.
But she notices that one of the basketball team members has become vamped. And
She runs out on the floor and everybody's like, "There's a girl on the court! You can't be on the basketball court, you're a girl!" And like there's a freaking full-on vampire, like obvious vampire.
Obvious vampire.
Go.
Yeah, it has like a scalloped ear.
Yeah, it
like
looks like somebody took a bite out of it.
Yeah.
And he can't close his mouth, and he has like literally blood stains.
What, he looks like he ate it like an Otter Pop or something?
Yes, it looks like he didn't know how to eat an Otter Pop. You just draw it off. It's like lipstick, yeah?
Yeah. So
It's
basically
via osmosis.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
this food is
so-
eaten. Ben Affleck shows up.
Batman's in this movie.
She chases the vampire.
Steals a motorcycle in the
Yes,
process.
she does. Yes, she does.
You want to get some real power between your legs?
I love that she said yes and then stole his motorcycle.
Blah, blah,
You
blah,
wanna take a
sexual innuendo. And she's like,
Want to take a ride on my hog? Yes. Yeah. Like, they end up in a parade float storage area.
Which is interesting because it's billed as LA. It's a very LA movie. From the Valley Girls to the mall in it. We have this other kind of iconic LA thing, which is the Rose Parade. I like how it's like Pasadena parade floats because they probably weren't able to license the Rose Bowl. So all of these things are covered in flowers. Really cool.
Fun little animatronics. There's like a swan, and there's the squirrel is my favorite. It's just like sitting on a branch. There's like no point in which the squirrel is not looming over the vampire fight.
A menacing squirrel is the best squirrel.
Pike shows up because he wants to save Buffy.
That's adorable.
And he does manage to kill one vampire while she manages to kill, more.
Yeah, because she's Buffy, so, In that whole little back and forth, there is another lovely bit of chemistry between the two of them, which is so choice.
Yes, I'm 100% into that relationship.
I'm feeling it.
I know that guy. That is a bad guy. Can we go, please?
Yes.
That is some just. There's some interesting power dynamics between like the lead vampire and Merrick. Merrick gets stabbed.
Oh no! Merrick dies in Buffy's arms as he says like, hey, you're really bad at this, but in the best way.
Usually we kind of scold movies when they are 0 to 60 best friends in like 2 sentences.
And while we don't get the whole movie for these two to get to know each other, it's clear that they have spent time together when we aren't around.
it was nice that they started off so rough and he like threw a knife at her head.
You threw a knife at my head.
Yes, I had to show you.
But you threw a knife at my head.
And you caught it.
And she was like genuinely pretty sad he died. Like if you throw a knife at my head, I would watch you die and be like, nah.
Now that the plot is moving along, it's I'm liking it a lot better.
Yeah.
Like there's fewer of those like scene transitional issues.
It's a good Saturday afternoon, which we're having right now. If I had some chicken wings,
Yeah.
this would be a perfect day.
Yeah, no, I've liked that too, and they've done a really good job raising the stakes.
I used to like you.
Can you guys clap for me?
Yay, Tara!
Third act is pretty breezy. We pick up after Merrick's death, and Buffy doesn't deal with it great at first, and Luke Perry, Pike, isn't dealing with it great either in sort of his own way.
The way that she mourns Donald Sutherland's character, from looking at the pictures to even grabbing the pillow that he was sleeping on, holding it, but then also sniffing it.
And the way she decides to get over it is to go back to her old life. She's done being a vampire slayer. She just wants to be a teenage girl.
Kristy Swanson as Buffy is a character that had to grow up incredibly fast, incredibly quickly, and then all of a sudden saw the world around her and went, why is anybody worrying about shopping?
And it's like empty for her now, because she doesn't actually want to go to the dance.
She can't stand hanging out with her friends anymore because they're all Heathers.
Like now we're like stupid. She decides to go to the dance anyway. She does get this really incredible dress. It's like this white cloud of a dress. It's great, I love it.
This was a very important dress for me growing up.
She thought she was gonna go with her boyfriend. That's not what happened. Her boyfriend was there with the person we've dubbed girl number 4.
Wow. Yep.
I'm sorry, is this the 4th girl?
Yes.
Yes.
No, Jenny, don't.
no.
Jenny!
Oh, Jenny, no.
You'll never not be the 4th girl if you act like that, Jenny.
That's right. You have to act like the 1st girl.
Although she's the 3rd girl now, because the 3rd girl died. At least we assume. She got dragged out of a window.
Well, I'm just gonna, okay, bye.
I'm the 4th one. They do the like end of 2nd act sort of breakup scene. It's really just a setup for him to show up to the prom in that jacket.
Pike shows up, he's shaved his soul patch, and I'm so excited.
Nobody
Yes, it's happening! I did it. I'm sorry for yelling.
The chemistry between Kristy Swanson and Luke Perry, absolutely explosive and amazing.
And then she gets to have one final dance with Luke Perry, and it's great, and it's wonderful, and he's an extremely supportive partner to this human being who's really having a hard time.
You're not like other girls.
Yes, I am.
She just wants to be a normal girl, going to a normal dance and have a normal time, and then vampires attack the dance, and that's not normal.
Party time!
One of my favorite things was Buffy's like,
Don't worry. They can't come in unless they're invited.
and Hilary Swank, freaking Kimberly, was like,
I already invited them. They're seniors.
that's actually amazing, because they had that conversation of like, do we really have to invite all of the seniors?
Yeah, I don't see why we have to invite every single senior.
Because it's a senior dance.
I love that the vampires are literally just like taking over the dance.
They're seniors.
Yeah, it's their dance.
Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes,
Lo, I grew up with this vision. And
Elisa,
it has
this
stuck
actually-
with me forever.
That's
This
the same.
speaks so true to who you are.
Yeah.
That right there.
She does kill Pee Wee Herman with a ruler, and that death scene, I mean, we all loved it.
You're gonna wish you died.
Paul Rubin's death scene was like obviously him trying to make the other people on set laugh, but somehow they kept it together. That's now in like top 3 movie death scenes ever.
Paul Rubin's death scene goes down in history as one of the greatest death scenes of all time. Of all time.
Pee Wee Herman's death scene with a class ruler. Like, how much of a vampire, Lothario are you? You got killed by a trapper keeper, my dude.
She ends up fighting the big bad, where then he has a sword to store.
Okay.
Where did that katana come from? Hey, I can see how this movie become like a cult classic and how it could spawn a beloved TV show.
The way that this movie played with a lot of tropes, not only of teen movies, but of vampire movies, and even just the spirit of the early 1990s was an absolute treat and delight.
I loved it, and it made me feel things, and it was super fun, and we all had a blast.
Forgot how much it actually meant to me as a kid until I watched it again. You can draw a direct line between Kristy Swanson's prom outfit, her dress with a leather jacket, and a direct line from that to my current closet.
I had so much fun with this movie. I really enjoyed Buffy as a character. I think she's like really pretty.
It's so wacky at times, and I feel like I would definitely go to a midnight showing of this movie with a whole bunch of people at like Alamo or something like that. Now I want to watch the TV show. I never did, ever.
If I had seen this as like a teenager, I think I really would have enjoyed this movie. Seeing somebody come into their own. Not only find confidence in herself, but confidence in her strength and her own abilities.
The sort of like surprising, wistful emotion out of all of this was Rutger Hauer and Luke Perry do amazing work. Like, we all fell in love with Luke Perry. Go rent it, especially if you like the TV show. I think there's some stuff to love.
So I highly encourage watching it. Go Buffy!
If you want a movie to end up in the dive box, the best way to do that is to send it to our P.O. box. We accept Blu-rays and also cookies. All of our cast gets to take turns curating a box for you, our patrons. If you're the taco or the pretzel tier, you actually get to vote on what movie we are going to watch next. So Sam, I made you this box.
Thank you for making me
I made
this
it
box.
for you as well.
Now, is there a theme to these movies?
There is a theme. I'm glad you asked. I made them all space themed.
Starting off strong with The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai.
It has such a good name.
We have Valerian, and this one was sent in by Jack Stacy.
So I chose this one because it looks really pretty.
Next up is Red Planet, and this was sent in by Nick Grugan.
I chose this one because our producer, Tara, writes little sentences about what the movie's about, and they said there's a dog in it.
Space Dog.
Space Dogs, I'm here for it.
Lost in Space.
Sent by Katie Medina. There's 3 versions of this story. So this is one of them. I'm not saying it's a good box, I'm just saying it was a themed box. Vote on our Patreon page to see what movie we watch next.